Hey guys, it's Kat with Taming the Tangle, and I want to jump in today and talk about yet another challenging card in the Major Arcana Shadow Journey. Let's talk about the Death card. This card holds position number 13, and it used to be, back when tarot was being created, it was the nameless arcana. It didn't actually have a name on the card. And that was probably a good thing, because I know from doing readings for many people, people get really triggered by the name death. I mean, understandably, right? But one of the sweetest moments that I had doing readings at a psychic fair was when a little boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old, sat down at my table and he asked his mom permission, could he get a card drawn? And, so I shuffled the cards, asked him what his question was. And his question was, what is the meaning of life? And she was standing nearby and she's like, no, 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 you can't ask that. And I was like, hey, no, that's the question that's on the table. Let's see what comes of it. So I shuffle, he cuts the cards, and we pull the card that emerges, and it's death. And he instantly crumpled and he was like, no, I don't want to see that card. And I have no idea what was going on in his life, but you could tell that there was something personal that this card triggered in such a young person. And I let him know, I was like, this is really important to know, though, and to understand that death kind of is the meaning of life. It is the whole reason why we have life. That is the cycle. There is no shortcut around that. And I don't like to think of it as linear, that there's a beginning and there's an end, and that end is death. It's much easier to take it away from ourselves, so to not take it personally, to look at nature and to see that cycle. If you have a garden or you have plants around you, there's certain ones that, like certain types of trees, that seem to be living all year long, the evergreens. But a lot of the deciduous trees and annual plants and even the perennials, you will see them. They will die off, in the winter time of the year, and then they will be dormant through those months and then start to reemerge in spring. And that is a cycle of death, that the things that have died are feeding what is to come. So, that is one just like perspective on how death supports life. Now, in tarot, when the death card comes up, I actually particularly love this death card from the Usi Pagan Otherworld Tarot deck. Because you see this very happy guy, just swinging away, but it's like, what is he removing? I see this ultimate sense of carefree freedom with him. And when I see this card, I realize, oh, right, it's letting go of all of those things that keep us from living our fullest. Sometimes it is labels or definitions or ways that we have to be that were put on us at a young age. It can be just that willingness to let go of how you've been defined, like, what can you let go? What can you let die off to see regeneration, see some new growth? If you've become stagnant at all, the death card is a gift. It can show you where you're stagnant. You might not know why. You might have these feelings of, oh, I'm not moving forward. But the death card kind of signifies to me, I'm holding on somewhere. What is something that needs to be let go? Because that needs to be composted. By letting something go, it creates space for something new to grow, but it also fertilizes the roots in a way so that something new can rise up from that, sort of like a little volunteer. If you've ever done composting, like you sometimes will get these fresh plants. You can deal with weeding things out or refining later, but you need to do the letting go and releasing to allow those things to lie dormant for a bit, to see what wants to come, what does get nourished and fed for when springtime, metaphorical or literal, arrives and allows for some blossoming. The other thing, which this is another beautiful depiction of the death card, and I'm showing you different cards because it's really important. Like when I teach tarot, It's about awakening your intuition and working with the cards that you have and the images that are on the cards, what intuitive hit comes from you. So there's no one meaning to the death card because each artist is going to have a different representation of it, but it also very much depends what cards are around it, where it lands in the spread, what was the question being asked. So I'm just talking about some bigger concepts with the cards. But in this card, you can really see that idea of regeneration. There is this beautiful phoenix, and this is the Shadowscapes Tarot. And there is this sense of, a fiery rising, something being called forth. And the phoenix is only born out of the ashes. So when you have that feeling that everything is dying and crumbling, it's a time to really have faith that something new will come. Trust in that process, trust in that natural cycle of things dying off and then being either reborn or born into something new, that new type of growth. So that is just another image that really captures that beautifully. Same thing in the Star Tarot. There's a phoenix shown there with death and some butterfly imagery, stuff like that, where you just get that sense of what is the gift? What is the gift of letting something go? And when the death card shows up, I also like to just mention, even though like in this card, the Mary L, it does remind us of old age and dying, but it's very rare. I'm not going to say never because that is just never true. All right. It's actually about an actual death of a person. Now, I have had it show up in a reading before, though, where it's reminded somebody and awakened in them someone that they've lost. And that loss is actually has this beautifulness, the way it lives on in the heart oftentimes, and it can still be giving a gift. What did that person's life give to you? What is part of being in their circle? What was that gift? How can you carry that forth? I often see the death card as a chance to step up and live more fully. I don't know if you have any sense of mortality motivation. If you've ever had a near-death experience, a terrible illness, and, even sometimes just the flu or something, and then you just, when it's over, you jump up and you go, oh my gosh, I'm so filled with life. If only we could approach every day that way. I mean, I know I like the fluctuation and variety of energetics, but to have that sense of alive urgency of like, yes, this is life. I don't know how long it's going to last. Let me enjoy it. Let me give. Let me serve. Let me do all of those things, have all of the different experiences, and just contribute as much as I can. So that can also be another beautiful message of the death card. So the last thing I want to mention about the death card is its number, is number 13. So when I teach tarot in more in-depth classes, one of the tools that I teach is the wheel of tarot that happens in cycles of 10. And so it goes from 1 to 10. And in the major arcana, there are 2 cycles of 10. So you have the 1 to 10, and then there's also 11 to 20. And so in looking at that shadow part, that's 11 to 20, death, number 13, is holding the place of the 3. And 3s are, in general, like these really beautiful, creative numbers. They're active. It's sort of taking one thing from here and one thing from there, combining them together and seeing what new, unexpected thing can happen. Just like birth, it takes 2 people to see what this other new being is going to be. There's no exact combination of how that's going to play out. So I love that death is actually assigned to this energy, this number of creation, holds this 3rd place, so that you get that sense of, right, what are new combinations that I can do in my life? What can I let go of to see what will come up and recreate? Even just by letting go of something, create space and a newness for something, some other new facet of yourself to emerge or be uncovered or to be expressed, So just sit with that, with the death card. And like I said, it all very much depends where it falls in your spread. If you want to learn more about tarot reading, I have a class that's getting ready to come out with my girlfriend, Rachel Lazarus, where we co-teach. We're actually doing 3 different levels. Feel free to join my email list at tamingthetangle.com, or keep following along on the videos here on YouTube, like my channel. And as that class is getting launched, I'll be sure to mention it. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions about the death card, let me know, and I hope to see you in future videos.